All right. So we got Facebook up here, we got YouTube down here. So two audiences. I had originally the one screen here, and they were like stacked on top of each other. I tried this morning to get a split, like like a split stream going, but there's some pretty hefty paywalls to hit, and I'm not ready to make those kinds of commitments yet. Like, this is only episode 2, right? So um yes, episode 2 of Poetry Hour. So guys, let's go ahead and sit back, let's relax, let's in the words of my good friend the Spiffing Brit, let's get ourselves some delicious tea going. Oh yes, some lovely tea. You know, it's funny, I had this brief time where I said, no more caffeine. I'm through with it. I'm done with it. And well, as luck would have it, I guess I'm not done with it, because this stuff is freaking good. I love tea. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully you've got a nice cup of tea and ready for some lovely poetry. So today I thought it'd be fun to examine another book that was given to me by a friend. Actually, my sister. She loves poetry, but she loves a very different kind of poetry than I do. And if you're interested in sending me poetry, whether it's a poet recommendation, whether it's a book that you need me to check out, or a poem, please feel free to comment. Let me know. I'm really stoked to examine that work that you want me to look at. So what we're going to look at today is a gift that was given to me by my sister. And this is by the poet Jesse Parent. And this book is called The Noise That Is Not You. And I've gone ahead and selected 2 poems that we'll examine here in a little bit. We'll start with one of his first poems and then the latter. But I think it's important to kind of preface who Jesse Parent is. And maybe one of the best ways of doing it is just like the first couple of sentences from the back of his book. So he's a poet, he's an improviser, and a former MMA fighter, computer nerd, playwright, husband, and father. So this poetry is a little bit more akin to a poetry slam style. It's not like Sharon Old's work from our previous video, where it seems a little bit more crafted, I think is a good way to put it. A little bit more... I'm not saying that time is the necessary factor between these 2 poets, but I definitely know that with the way that Jesse approaches his poetry, there is that slam element. And if you've never been to a slam event, you've got to check it out. It's really interesting when you have these poets go up there and they just know all of their material, and it's just flows from them so beautifully. A lot of times they'll use music, or they'll have like other stuff going on in the background. I remember there was this one in college that I went to a couple times. It was called the Elephant Engine High Dive Water Revival. I think that's what it was called. Anyway, it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. They did a couple shows, and I can't remember any of the poets now because I'm more interested in examining this book. So let's get into it. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy each other in this poetry hour. So thanks for joining. So the first book that I picked out of here, and I used the poems that we wrote from last time as my bookmarks. So the first poem I'm actually going to look at is not the first one in the book. It's actually a little bit later on. And I read all of these poems this morning, which was kind of interesting to kind of like really ingest a poet before breakfast. Actually, I was making breakfast while I read it, and I was kind of laughing about some of the things that he wrote about. But this one is particularly good. I think that you'll like it. This one, if I could dedicate the reading to anybody, I'm actually going to dedicate this reading to my friend Atherton. He just had his baby about a month ago or so, a little baby girl. And she's super cute. She's super cute. When I saw her, as somebody who wants to be a father one day, oh my gosh, it was just kind of striking, you know. But when I read this poem this morning while I was making breakfast, as a soon, not a soon to be, but a someday soon father, I thought this was a really great poem. So, with how well I tend to like to read poems twice, and so we'll go through it once and see how we feel. It's not super long, but I don't know. Let's just check it out. The Mythology of Fatherhood by Jesse Parent. In the mythology of fatherhood, nobody tells you that it's okay to not feel magically connected right away with your newborn child. The awkward emptiness of cradling that compact package, looking at squinted eyes, corded belly button, bound body, and feeling nothing, wondering what's wrong with you, and when the blue fairy is going to come and make this boy a reality and plug you back into your contribution of 23 chromosomes. Let me be your nobody then, gazing cyclops giving prophecy to your new odyssey. I'm here to say that it is okay. There's no magic spell. It's a relationship being built. From the first aspirated cry to rooting for Apgar scores to that meconium. Ooh, we're going to have to look up that word, guys. Meconium. If anybody knows a better way of saying that, it's Meconium. We'll look it up in the dictionary here in a minute. So that meconium black poop diaper you couldn't help laughing at when the Beverly Hillbillies theme hit your head. Up from the bum came a bubbling crude. That's gross. It continues. The cradled snooze on your chest, head cocked sideways with open, full tulip lips, drooling slightly onto your shirt, high chair adventures, face painted the same color as dinner, now the same shade as the floor, seeing first steps, outstretched hands, not reaching for a favorite toy, but for you. Behind a smile that's all gum and tongue, seeing those same outstretched hands 2 years later, reaching for Mickey Mouse while walking away from you, making postcard pictures in your mind. It's the anger of a broken plate or a wall covered in marker and paint. Now the same shades as face and body, soothing into digital pictures, sure to make photo albums. You plan to break out during the prom date. It's the repeated Bazooka Joe joke that he thinks, since it was funny the first time, it should be good for 50 more. Building, shifting with each life moment, turning selfishness into selflessness, realizing over time that you have something, someone worth dying for, dawning on you that if you don't die before they do, it'll kill you. It sneaks up on you, this love, this child, and it's worth the wait for the day when that child strains to learn a small numeric pattern, surprising your cell phone with a wife's caller ID and a child voice saying, "Daddy, this is Alec. I just wanted to say I love you, and I'm glad that you're my dad." And that is magic. So that's The Mythology of Fatherhood by Jesse Parent. Super good. Hey, hold on a second. Bye, Elena. Are you out of here?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see ya.
You want a kiss?
You can give me a big kiss right here. Oh, cute. Nice. Okay. Thanks, lady.
Yeah.
So she wants to have my baby. So this was definitely a really nice poem for her to hear before she goes. Enjoy work.
Thank you. I will.
Yeah.
Good day.
Yeah, I will. Thanks. So the thing that I found that was really striking about this poem was not only did I kind of connect with it as a poet, but also that some of the images that he uses are really explicit, that only a father would really experience. For instance, like getting a call on your phone and having your kid like talk to you. Oh my gosh, That just won my heart this morning. I thought about that for myself and was like, dang, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. Just because I've talked to my dad on the phone for years and years. I mean, do you still talk with your parents over the phone? I mean, I'm just curious. It's kind of strange, how as we've gotten older and technology has become more part of our lives, that our parents are kind of disembodied in a way. They become abstracted, or they become immaterial, ethereal even. Like my father and I, we speak on the phone about, oh shoot, I was supposed to call my dad yesterday. So I wish I could just grab my phone and call him, but I can't because I'm recording myself. So I can promise you guys I will call my dad when I'm done with this and tell him that I read a really great poem. But so the point is, like, I think that Jesse's ability to capture this moment of him being like the connection between him and his son is just, it's a really good one. And I also liked the imagery that he uses. Well, shoot, let's dive into it instead of me just talking about it. Let's see, where is it? Okay. High chair adventures. Face painted the same color as dinner. Like, that's such a good line. Like, you can just imagine, like, any kind of dinner. The first kind of dinner that comes to my mind when a kid's eating. Come on, name the color that you think this kid's face has all over him. Just go ahead, take a second. Go ahead and what was that, Elena? Red. He has the color red all over his face. He's got like spaghetti sauce or something. Like, oh, that's just so freaking cute. And then now the same shade as the floor. Seeing first steps, outstretched hands, not reaching for a favorite toy, but for you. Behind a smile that's all gum and tongue. You can just like... This is such a silly picture. I really enjoyed that this morning. And I think that fatherhood is a cool subject that's examined in poetry. And I think slam poets particularly like it because it's a very personal experience. And if you've experienced a slam poet, they love to get super personal. And they like to try and really draw from their own experiences and almost make it more conversational than crafted. So,
Alex, this will fall. I'm putting it here.
oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah. So the poem that I wrote for my sister, I put it in the door to remind myself to put it in the mailbox. So, I don't know. Should we read this again? No, let's go ahead and jump into the dictionary and look for this word. What was that word? It was meconium. Mesonium. Gosh, I don't even know what this word is. Mesonium. Where's my diction? Oh, it's up there.
Bye.
Hey, bye. I know you love me. Now get out of here. You got work to do.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. All right. So here we go. Let's pull this out. M-A. So let's get to M-E. M-E. M-A-M. M-C-H. M-C-K. M-C... Meconium. Hey, I actually said that right. Meconium. It's a new Latin word from Latin for poppy juice. That's pretty weird. Oh, like poppy seeds are like really black. So Greek from meconion, French mecon, poppy. Huh. So opium, a dark greenish mass of disquamated cells, mucus, and bile that accumulates in the bowel during fetal life and is discharged shortly after birth. Oh, that's disgusting. So, all right, so I've got the dictionary out, right? And meconium says here that it's, which I said right, and I've never seen this word before, a dark greenish mass of dequamated cells, mucus, and bile that accumulates in the bowel. A mass of fecal material discharged by some insect larva at pupation. That's disgusting. That is a freaking word right there. So maybe I could try and write a poem based on meconium. Meconium. This word is freaking weird. Meconium. Do you have any other prompts for me that I could probably use? I like meconium. It's pretty good, but I need something more. Go ahead. If you throw out a word, any other word, it doesn't matter what it is. Come on, YouTube. Let's see it. Any word, it doesn't matter. I just said meconium. It's the nastiest freaking word. All right. It's okay that you're shy. I'm not stressing about it. Let's do... Here we go. Make sure we got my color on. So typewriters, for those of you on Facebook, you get to see this, but YouTube, sorry, it's a little, it's like right here. I can't make that lean any farther. Whoa. So there's my typewriter, right? So the typewriter has two features. It's got the red and the black. So I'm going to have it on black. Okay. Let's see. I'm calling this one Meconium Mondays. How about that? That sounds like something that Garfield would probably be like, yeah, Mondays. They're big greenish gray mass of child poop. So part of my writing process that I've learned is that I'm definitely more of a presenter type. I like to talk about my experience and get engaged with the work in total. In fact, I've found that as a writer, that when I'm actually performing for people, I write maybe not better, but I feel more connected with the work, as opposed to like some people, they have to like shut themselves up. No one knows. If you guys don't know this, there's a 5 a.m. Twitter group, the 5 a.m. Writers Club. It's freaking crazy. Those guys, oh my gosh, 5 a.m. writing, they're brutal. So here we go. Meconium Mondays. Let's see. So the first lines start, cold coffee and cruel supervisor's critiques. Oh yeah, because we got to do this in the style of a slam poetry, right? Cold coffee and cruel supervisor's critiques. I am seated on my sickly cubicle throne. Wonder when Mother Earth will labor pains and push me out of this So I've learned this trick with the typewriter that you can kind of count about where things are going because it sucks when you type off the page. Let's see. Oh, wait. I could probably get this. This one's actually pretty fun. So here I'm at cold coffee and cruel supervisor's critiques. I am seated on my sickly cubicle throne wondering when the mother earth will labor pains and push me out of this womb too cramped for my body. How it would be to throw off my... can you spell umbilical for me real quick? Yeah, just go ahead. Toss it down in the comments, please. Please. Or I have to dig it up out of the dictionary. Umbilical. Umbilical. Is it E-M? U-M? Umbilical? Okay, I'll dig it up out of the dictionary. All right. Let's see. Umbilical. You know, I'm pretty sure that you guys just do this. Just watch me pull out my big red dictionary. Okay, umbilical. 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 Oh yeah, umbilical. I got it. umbilical. Okay. Umbilical. Okay. So it's at a point where I've just got to finish it. And with these smaller papers, it can kind of like get stuck. So I'm just about to finish it. Haha! Not bad. Okay, so here we go. I'll post this one on Instagram. So if you want to go to the blog, you can check it out in a little bit more close range, like close up. But here we go. So it goes Meconium Mondays. Cold coffee and cruel supervisor's critiques. I am seated on my sickly cubicle throne wondering when the Mother Earth will labor pains and push me out of this womb too cramped for my body. How it would be to throw off my umbilical paycheck, take in air with my own two lungs, and dump off this meconium mass into the paper waste of my fetal past career. Bam. There you go. Using that. I love it. That's great, guys. Woo! Got the chills. And got to put a little handy feature on there. Bang! Okay, we'll go ahead and post that on the Instajams. Ah! See, this is why I want to do the split screen, because my phone is right there. Facebook, you rock. So, that was a pretty good one. That was a pretty good one. I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to dig into the next poem here in a second. Sometimes I get this kind of like, oh man, poem is out, the refractory period of the poem writing process. Oh man. Whew. So my kids are going to think I'm crazy. It's so funny. I thought about this. I'm so grateful that there are people just like you who are taking the time to watch me write poetry. And I hope that one day my kids will watch me writing poetry and they're like, dang, Dad was one crazy son of a gun. Just so crazy. Some of the stuff he talks about, just like, oh, Dad. So, all right. We're doing good on tea. Maybe a little warm up. A little warm up here as we approach the halfway point of our poetry hour. I honestly believe there's probably nothing more luxurious than tea and poetry for an hour. I really doubt that there is. I feel like, so where I live in downtown, I can see into the streets, and they're building a building down there. And so if you hear construction sounds, it's because they're building apartments right outside my house. And I think about how they work so freaking hard at building that building. And here I am at almost 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm drinking tea, writing poetry, reading poetry. And this is what I want to do with my life, And I see those guys down there, and I often wonder, like, what are their passions? What poetry would they write? And I guess that's kind of why I was interested in reading Jesse Parent's poetry, because he's not your typical kind of guy. I mean, he's won all these individual world poetry slams. He's a grand champion. He's, that's what he's done with his life, is he's been able to take his love of words and become internationally acclaimed for it. That's something that I want to do. I mean, I craft poems like on the spot, and I love to entertain you guys. It's my favorite thing I get to do. So thank you again. I hope that one day I can take all of these poems that we wrote from all of our poetry episodes, publish it into a book, and then we can sit and critique my work, and it'll be hilarious. It'll be so much fun. So this next one is super graphic, okay? Super graphic off the get-go. And I like that. I mean, not like, well, you'll just have to hear it, okay? So not only being a father is something that's important to Jesse Parent, but also father figures in general. So we're going to be examining this poem that's called Pez. And I'll admit, after I heard this poem, read it to myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to look at Pez the same. Never. And that's what good poetry should do, right? It should make you re-examine your worldview. I mean, not always. It doesn't always have to be profundities, but I think a certain measure of poetry reading is to look at the world through the lens of language in a different way. Like where, you can put on the filters on your smartphone and all that stuff. But the poem, right? Read the poem. Okay, so here we go. This is called Pez by Jesse Parent. She had a face like a bag of smashed assholes, but she gave me more head than a crate of Pez dispensers. And with that phrase, Grandma's eulogy was off to an interesting start. My grandparents had a unique kind of relationship. They dealt with each other like bad poker hands, with faces that you could never quite read. But you could tell they loved to play the game. And as far as inappropriate behavior went, they were all in. Theirs was the kind of love that existed alongside fiber-laden farts hot-boxed under comforters and bed sheets until someone cried, "Uncle!" Sharp tongues that didn't recite love ballads. They carved lines in the air to mark territory and challenge each other's venom and wit. Laid down lyrics that made divorce seem inevitable on top of a melody that was subtle. Sweet. The kind of music you'd hear swelling as the hero kisses the girl, or soundtracked in that chick flick you don't want to admit shedding a tear to. This was hard love. This was a labor that required tough calluses, earned along with backaches and sunburns. This love gnarled the forearms and blackened the fingernails. This love leathered the face into weathered lines no nip tuck could dare to fix. This love was a tattoo gotten to make a point, whose lines no longer held the shape of a design, but indelibly marked the skin in greening ink. We have been spoiled by Fabio novels, saying this grass is greener, is what you should want. Not that shade-dappled weed yard you are sweating to maintain. That marriages should come packed with parachutes so that when the engine smokes, we are ready to bail. Floating to safety, ready to kiss the ground as we land. But my grandparents knew that this was work, and it wasn't always easy. They would glide the aircraft of their marriage in with only one engine left and no landing gear, skidding to safety, ready to collect a lay, and declare this vacation a success. And yes, they would be flying that airline again. This was not abuse. This was sparring. This was the joy of combat that always ended in hugs, with the referee raising both their hands. This was hard to explain. As we held hands listening to my grandfather eulogize his wife as the new pastor blanched and tugged awkwardly at his collar, we wept and we laughed and we held each other, knowing that the lyrics didn't need to match the melody to recognize the tune. This was their love. And yet, to this day, I have never eaten candy from a Pez dispenser again. Oh, there you go. There's Pez by Jesse Parent. Pretty gross, if you ask me, but also at the same time, really touching. Not only is fatherhood kind of an important theme with today's episode, but also marriage together. You saw my wife come and join me. That was totally unscripted. She's very weary of, not weary, like she's reluctant to be on camera because I'm a very gregarious guy. I'll just talk, and she doesn't want to invade, this space. But because she knows this is your time, right? This is your time. And I really do appreciate you letting me entertain you for an hour. That's awesome. I'm very grateful for that. So thank you. So the noise that is not you, and with Pez. So I'll admit that, like for my parents, they decided that 2 times being married to each other was too many times. And so they're separated. But I do recall some of the fights that they had. Shoot, being married myself, I know some of the fights I've had. And they're dumb. They're just so dumb. Fighting is one of the most emotional experiences that a couple can have. But at the same time, it's really great material for poetry. It's stellar. So, it's stellar. The things that you talk about when you're angry are irrational and full of emotion, passion, which is what people want when you're writing anyway. I think that explicitly, the thing that I really enjoyed this. But my grandparents knew that this was work and that it wasn't always easy. And I know that. I've been married like 8 years. And it's not easy. It's super difficult, especially when you're upset. And the fact that his grandma died and his grandpa was audacious enough to cave more head than a crate of Pez dispensers, like, holy cow, that's some freaking honesty. And I can tell you that a relationship is built on honesty. It just is. And so I think that in the same fashion, when a poet chooses to be very honest in their writing, you can feel it come out. And so I have to also be honest in my reading of The Noise That Is Not You. I didn't enjoy most of the poetry. It was a little upsetting. Some of it, I was like, yeah, okay. I feel like I've heard that one before. Oh, okay. And so, like, that's really tough for me to say, especially where we're in at, like, 40 minutes almost into this video, that while I'm very grateful that my sister had, the kindness in her heart to give me this book, I didn't connect very well with a lot of the poetry that he wrote. And not because it wasn't authentic, it was definitely his own, or not even really his tone. It was just some of the subjects. It's like, I've heard that before. I've heard that before. And it might just be because this is a little bit older book. Let's see, when was this one written? (2012). So, I mean, it's like, 8 years old. So I may have, in some instances, encountered poetry that sounds very similar to this. And so I wasn't super stoked for a lot of the poetry that I read. And some of it was kind of repetitious, which is indicative of almost any poet. I mean, even the greats tend to talk about the same stuff over and over and over and over again. They just change it, and then like a combination lock, and you're like, whoa, that was a really good one. So I have to commend him for his capacity to generate poetry that it connects with people on a slam poetry level. I'm certain that if you go ahead and search up Jesse Parent, that he gives a really great performance. I know that I'm doing him like no justice, because I'm not going to do his poetry like he does it. I'm going to do it like I do it. So yeah, so there we go. I think that's a really good place to finish off with him. So let's go ahead and think about this for a moment. So if I may, is there a prompt that you're intrigued and that you want me to probably craft this next poem? I mean, I can definitely come up with another one, but your insight might be really helpful. And if there's someone or something that you're interested in sharing about. Nada? Okay. Still not offended. Trust me, I'll never be offended. I love writing poetry. I love it. So maybe we can pull something out of here that, let's see. I like that. I like that phrase. This was hard love. There you go. This was hard love. I think writing in the style of slam poetry is really kind of fun. It's a little bit, I think the typewriter is a better format for the slam poem than a lot of others. It gives it the staccato that you need to create the emphasis in the correct places. So very 8 years. Fell in love after It's always right there at the end when I get stuck right there. So, can't make it. Oh, I got a really good word, but I can't remember how to spell it. The word is insemination. This is a really tricky word. It's tricky for me because I can't remember very well. I am in. I think it's I. INC. I'm in IND right now. INC. Sim. Uh-oh. I don't think that's right. Insemination. Is it enseminate? Inseminate? Or is it INS? Oh my gosh. This is tough. I don't know it. So now I gotta go digging. Inseminate. Insim. Man, if you can spell it faster than I can find it, it's gonna help. Inseminate. SIS. SIP. No. I don't know how to spell this word. There's insinuate. Ooh. Oh, I love it. This is not, I thought it was going to be inseminate, but this is so much better. Insinuating. Can I spell it right? INSI. Ah! Two lovesick birds careening toward each other on an. Almost done. Hmm. I think I got this. Hmm. Is uttered Utterred? Dang it. Man, I've never pulled this dictionary out so much in my life. But if I could just reach the freaking phone, maybe that's part of the fun, right? Uttered. UN. Can you believe that people had to do this like all the time, and now you can just literally Google search it? It's crazy. It definitely gives you kind of a sense that poetry was a taxing. It took time. UT. Isn't it you? Okay, I found it. No, it's just uttered. Uttered. From the Middle English. Do you risk it? Yes! There was enough paper. Sweet. That left our lips. Stay with me now. I'm almost done. Oh shit. I'm at the end. Yeah, there we go. I got it. Sweet. Hey, thanks for staying with me. Okay. This was hard, but this was hard love. Married 8 years, we fell in love after we fell for each other. Two lovesick birds careening towards each other as a insinuating course. Ooh, on a insinuating course that has sunk our hearts like lead in a sea of love, wishing with every bad word and insult and every whispered prayer uttered that left our lips turned that hard black lead rock into gold. Yeah, I like it. I kind of want to rewrite it, but maybe if I just put the single character right. There we go. This was hard love. Married 8 years. We fell in love after we fell for each other. Two lovesick birds careening towards each other as an insinuating course. On an insinuating course that has sunk our hearts like lead in a sea of love, wishing with every bad word and insult and every whispered prayer uttered that left our lips, turned that hard black lead rock into gold. You know, I could probably recraft this. I could probably crank it out pretty quick. And, you know, if you want to stay, I appreciate that. That's nice. Let's see. Married 8 years. We fell in love. Oh, sometimes I change things. Almost done. All right. Tried that. I think I got it. Here we go. Whew. It's different. This was hard love. Married 8 years, we fell in love after we were tossed into each other like two lovesick birds careening towards each other on an insinuating course. And of course, we sunk our hearts like lead in a sea of love, wishing with every bad word and insult, every prayer and promise, that our lips would turn these sunken ship hearts into sunrise songs of love. There you go. See, sometimes you just got to recraft it. Not saying that it's much better than the other one, especially on the spot, but yeah, you got to use a little bit of imagery, right? And tea helps. So thanks, guys, for joining with me today. I really appreciate that. It's been really nice having our second hour. Oh, see, and all the tea's gone. Dang. So it must be time to be done. Again, thank you very much for joining me. This has been another really fun and enjoyable experience. I really, after yesterday's first edition, I couldn't sleep last night. I just was dreaming about having the chance to sit down from 10:30 to 11:30 and just write poetry, read poetry, write poetry, and be live on camera. I don't know why that just got me so jazzed. And so now here I am doing it again. And I'm now wondering, I'm contemplating, am I doing this too often? Am I doing too much? But then again, when you care about what you care about, you want to do it all the time. And I'm telling you, this is like kind of an all-consuming feeling where I just want to read poetry, I want to write poetry, and I want to share it with you. Because you're watching, partly, and the other part is, shoot, just sharing poetry with myself is kind of self-congratulatory. Oh, yes, Alex, that was a great poem. Oh, yes, it was a great poem. How else am I supposed to be able to share this stuff unless it's for you? So thank you again for joining me. At this point, we've got, where are we at now? We've written 4 poems. 4 poems. And these are my favorite size of poem. And I call them quippies, to be honest. So when you get a chance, like this stuff, comment, share, check out our blog, shoot, whatever you'd like. It's been a lot of fun. And I definitely have never opened up this side of myself before. So it's kind of a cool experience. And I appreciate you being there for me to become a little bit more vulnerable. Poetry is a very intimidating thing. And it's intimidating because you never know what people are going to think. Shoot, I don't think the highest of Jesse Parent, but he still published his work. So, yeah, I think that concludes this one. So tomorrow, 10:30 to 11:30 Mountain Standard Time. More tea? Sounds kind of nice. Hope to see you there. If you have any poems that you want me to review or any poets you want me to check out, if you want to throw some prompts my way that can help me write something in the future, that'd be great. Thank you in advance for being my spell checker when we do these and just tossing out words. I really do appreciate that. But it is kind of fun to watch me dig into the dictionary, huh? Anyway, thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun, and might as well try again tomorrow, too. See ya. End stream. Bye.